Hi everyone! Welcome to Genso Manège. I think that's how I pronounce it. This is an otome game made for the Switch, I believe. It was already out on Switch, but now it's going to be available on PC as well. And this is the demo for it. I've never really seen this game much, so yeah, I'm really excited to start playing. Let's go! Okay, let me just... Should I use my name more? I guess I should, right? Vere. Okay. Yeesh. Prologue. The sky was gray. Snow fell from the clouds like porcelain crystals from a dull curtain. Frost covered the park, coating its already still attractions in frozen silvery sheets. When there was once smiles and cheers, silence now reigned. Save for a few souls, that is.
なぜこんなことをするんだ。俺たちから奪う権利はないはずだろう。
The effects for the text box is kind of distracting. I hope the voice is not too low. I think it is. Okay, wait, let me just fix the voice. Should be good. Oh, there's guns in this game. Okay. The man drew a gun. He pulled the trigger. There was a flash, then smoke coiled out from the barrel. A bullet sped towards the fallen young man, only to collide with something else entirely. That something let out a shrill whine as the bullet bore into it. There was another, brighter flash of light, one of blinding intensity. For a split second, everything was white. And then, darkness. Someone was shouting. I jolted awake. I found myself in my room, rays of the morning sun poking through the curtains. The aroma of freshly bloomed violets drifted through the slightly ajar windows. Am I? Something ran down my cheek. I reached up to touch it and felt something white. Wet. Tears. I'm crying? But why? That dull winter sky flashed across my mind. The image was faint, close to vanishing like smoke in the wind. Still, I knew it was the place I had dreamed of. I can't remember much, but it couldn't have been a good dream. Why else would I be crying? A knock came at my door, pulling me out of my trance. I glanced at the clock on my bedside table. It was well past time to get out of bed. Yes, sorry, Arnaud. I'll get changed and have breakfast ready soon.
慌てるなって。朝食ならできてるから、ゆっくり降りてこいよ。
It's... Oh. Whatever I might have said, embarrassment stole the words from my mouth. I can't believe I slept through one of my only jobs. I'm really, really sorry. Finally managing to squeeze out an apology, I hurriedly dressed myself. Once I came downstairs, I found food for 3 waiting at the table. The comforting scent of freshly baked baguettes enticed a growl from my stomach.
Ohayo.
She looks short. Good morning, Madam Alice. I'm sorry I slept in so late this morning. Do I have you to thank for breakfast? Arnaud put down his food, stood up, and pulled out my chair for me. Thank you. Oh, that's okay. I took a seat. Along with the baguettes, several colorful fruits adorned the table.
朝食は私が用意すると言ったのだけれど、あるのがダメだと言って聞いてくれなくて、バゲットを温めるくらい誰にでもできるのに。
料理の常識を覆していくのが母さんだろ。
そんなことないわ。ね。
I glanced around the room as if searching for an answer. I had seen Madame Alice's attempts at cooking before. Well, calling it cooking would have been generous. I can't exactly blame Arnaud for stopping her, but at least she's trying.
母さん、こいつを困らせるなよ。
困らせていないわよ。もう人聞きの悪いことばかり言って。
This was very much a common spectacle with these two. The Vincents and their little antics were a part of everyday life for me. It's been 7 whole years since I moved in with them. Until I was 10, I had lived in Paris with my family. But after nearly drowning in the Seine River, I lost most of my memories. My father lost his life during the incident. Since my mother had already passed due to illness, I became an orphan. That was when the Vincents took me in. We, including Arnaud's father, Daniel, had stayed in Paris for some time. 6 years ago, though, Arnaud, his mother, and I moved here to Blankbourg? I don't know how to say that. The shock had put me in a precarious mental state, so the change to a smaller, quieter town was likely for my sake. They had never said as much, but I knew. Monsieur Daniel stayed behind on account of his work. I hope he's well. I haven't seen him in a long time.
なあ、このジャム使ってみろよ。会社の人にもらってさ、もう絶品なんだ。
Oh, okay. I'll try some on my baguette. I spread the strawberry jam on the bread and took a bite. A perfect balance of sweet and sour filled my mouth. You're right! This is delicious! Arnaud gave me a wide smile.
食後のコーヒー、用意しとくか？
Allow me.
いいね。俺はもう食べ終わったからさ。
He stood up and walked over to the kitchen. 7 whole years, and Arnaud still as kind as ever. Ever since I had lost my family, he had been a constant in my life, a friend, and a pillar of support. After cleaning up breakfast, I followed Arnaud out to see him off to work. It was a beautiful day with clear skies and just the right amount of sun. Vibrant flowers that decorated the road swayed in the breeze.
今朝は何かあったのか？
What? Why do you ask?
ほら、お前が寝坊するなんて珍しいだろう。具合でも悪いんじゃないか？
Arnaud suddenly stopped and peered at me. No, it's not that. I just had a strange dream, that's all. I don't remember much, but I know it was sad.
夢を見たってことは眠りが浅かったのかもな。 さては、寝る前に怖い本でも読んだんだろう。
It was about a witch, and it wasn't scary. The witch saved a girl from being bullied and turned her into a princess.
な、魔女が出てくる本は大抵怖いもんなの。それが世の中の意見なんだ。
Well, this one wasn't, and
こら。
he prodded my head with his finger.
人は自分と違うものを怖がる生き物なんだ。お前がいい魔女だったとしても、誰にも言うなよ。
I know. Not like anyone would believe me. How would I convince them? Cast a spell? It wasn't just my memories I had lost 7 years ago. I had lost my magic too. All that practice I had done with my mother as a child, gone to waste. I wonder where that star necklace went. Looks like a cookie. My mother and I had matching necklaces. Not only had it helped me control and regulate my magic, but it also reminded me who I was, where I came from. But it vanished during the accident 7 years ago. Witches were all but extinct, thanks to cultural persecution and hunts 4 centuries ago. My mother was the only one I knew, other than myself. Despite that, our dark history still lingered. Most people weren't fond of being like me. My parent had made sure to impress something upon me, though. Magic was a force of good. My mother, at least, had been a kind and caring witch, so I chose to believe in her. I believed in him as well. Who was that boy anyway? I can hardly remember. All I could recall was that he had been very important to me. Although I wasn't even sure about that either.
じゃあ行ってくるよ。今日は帰りが少し遅くなるから。
Investigating something somewhere far off again? Arnaud was a reporter for a local newspaper. He had to travel often for work.
まあ、自転車で行ける範囲だけどな。あ、そうだ。
He produced a flyer from his pocket.
知ってるか？昨日移動遊園地が来たって。お前こういうの好きだったよな。
An amusement park in Blankborg? I practically leaped for the flyer and read its content. La foi du... Sorry, I can't do French. At all. Children and adults alike are invited to come have the time of their dreams. Visit us from April 1st to June 30th. Marked their location. They were in a forest nearing the outskirts of town. I don't know. I do like amusement parks, but I'll sit this one out. I don't earn my keep like you do.
何言ってるんだよ。働いてる女の人の方が珍しいし、家事だって立派な仕事だろ。まあ無理強いはしないけど、我慢する必要はないんだからな。
He ruffled my hair. Hey!
もし行ったら遊園地の感想よろしくな。取材することになるかもしれないし。じゃあ行ってきます。
Stay safe. Arnaud hopped on his bike and sped off to the office. An amusement park here, of all places? I placed the flyer on my desk and picked up my music box. After I had wound up the key, I replaced it on the dresser and watched the horses spin as the music begins to play. The pastel top turned, glass gems twinkling in the sunlight. A kaleidoscope of colors reflected off of him, whisking me away into a world of fantasy. This little merry-go-round, this Manège, was all I had left of my father. I was rather fond of it, It reminded me of the Manège in my favorite picture book. Why is there so many French words? I am dying. River Dune Manège? Sorry, fucked that up. My father had been an engineer for amusement parks, so we would often visit them to admire his work. My fascination had begun there. Unfortunately, I was told I had received this particular trinket 7 years ago. Had no memory of it personally. Still, memory or not, I would always treasure it, and I always would. Maybe I will visit that amusement park. Arnott had offered after all, and I genuinely wanted to go. Alright, chores first. I'm going to raise the volume of the game just a little bit. I hope this is better. Yes. Alright, chores first. With a renounced sense of motivation, I set about doing my daily task. I finished my work around midday when the sun was high and left home. Following the map marked on the flyer, I sauntered through town. I couldn't help but grin at the rowdy children. It wasn't every day such events occurred around here, so I empathized with their excitement. The what? The family turned the corner and promptly left earshot. What's the Hamlin phenomenon? Was she really making that up? The question hung in my mind, but I continued on my way to the forest. As the buildings and bustle faded, the trees grew thicker. Birds chirped atop their branches, and squirrels scurried from limb to limb. The tranquility was contagious. What sort of amusement park is it, I wonder? My heart pounded in anticipation. I took a moment to breathe and calm my nerves before continuing. Wow! There it proudly stood, right at the mouth of the forest. A pastel gate gave way to a large fountain, around which numerous lovely attractions were centered. Even from afar, their craftsmanship was something to behold. I couldn't take my eyes away. The entire affair looked like something straight out of a toy box. I could have sworn I had just walked into a picture book. It's all so charming. I've never seen a park like this. I turned to the voice. A girl stood there. Her star-dappled uniform seemed plucked from the same whimsical story as the park itself. Yes, please. I timidly paid the woman for my ticket. What a cute one. The ticket is so cute. Even the tearaway part's a little star. That's so cute. I found another smile sneaking onto my face. The staff lady smiled back, tearing off the stub and handing me the rest. She punctuated the transaction with a wink. Reve, okay. The girl gestured for me to enter. I passed through the gate with bated breath. My eyes were drawn at once to the fountain, thoughts buzzing as to how they traveled with such a thing. Elephants which blew bubbles and sprayed water adorned the circumference. How cute! Children frolicked about, reaching out for the bubbles. Something smells good. The scent caused me to turn my gaze towards the many stalls set up on the right. Upon closer inspection, they were selling all manner of deviously tempting sweets, from gaufres and pretzels to sugared fruits and cookies. Worm sandwiches, snacks, ball games, and other diversions also lined the counters. Something about these stalls feels off, though. I approached them to investigate. Oh! To my surprise, the booths were being manned by puppets. Perhaps that wasn't the right word. They were automated puppets, machines known as automatons.
いらっしゃいませ。
Cool.
ご注文をどうぞ。ゴーフルを一つですね。かしこ。
The automatons addressed and attended to the customers with pre-recorded phrases. Incredible! Machines with jobs?
オートマタに何か問題でも。
He kinda fine. I'm not usually the type to go for the glasses character, but he kinda fine. A tall man in uniform suddenly approached me. I knew at once he must have been with the park. This knowledge didn't make his gaze feel any less intimidating, though, or me any less like a frog in the sight of a hungry snake. No, I've just never seen one before.
なるほど。オートマタが働いている遊園地は世界広しといえどもここだけだろう。あなたが驚くのは無理もない。だがオートマタは問題なく整備されている。安心して利用するといい。
The man said nothing more. He simply turned on his heels and left. He didn't seem very amused for an amusement park employee. I shook off the awkwardness and returned to browsing the stalls. Cheers suddenly erupted from the fountain. Maybe there's just a show going on. I should go look. I headed towards the hubbub, only to find a young man putting on a performance.
メルシー拍手どうも。でも今のはただのボールジャグリングだ。ここから披露するのは一味違うからな。
Juggling is so cool. I would love to learn.
じゃあ一番前で見てる君、好きなフルーツを教えてくれ。
私リンゴが好き。
それはこんなリンゴか？
Shimonohiro? Am I insane? The boy produced an apple in his hand, seemingly out of thin air.
す
今度は奥で見てる君に苦手な野菜を聞こう。
No, he definitely sounds like Shimonohiro. Am I insane? Is my ears bad? He proceeded to materialize an apple, a radish, a mushroom, and a strawberry, which he then began to juggle. That sounds so fun! The colorfully mismatched ensemble flew through the air and back into his hands with ease. He improvised all of that? The crowd only continued to grow.
見えない。
I should probably move. There's plenty more to explore. I offered my spot to the boy behind me and weaved my way back out of the crowd.
ありがとう、お姉ちゃん。
Quietly wishing the child a good show, I soon escaped the fountain area. Next on my list was the area to the left with the teacups. What is that? A costumed mascot of sorts strolled by the line of guests waiting for the ride. The lemon-colored, droopy-eared rabbit wore the same uniform as the others and carried a flag with the park's insignia.
みんな、僕と一緒に手拍子してね。
The rabbit began clapping, and soon the guests followed suit. On a rhythm, he started to move, jump, and spin around the line of people. I could just barely make out a star pattern on the suit beneath his uniform. So cute.
手拍子ありがとう。そろそろ列が動くから、前。
No, sorry. With a wave of his flag, the rabbit left the guests. He looked this way and that. Eventually, our gazes met. The glittering peridot-colored eyes fixed on mine.
こんにちは、お姉さん。マネージはもう見てきた？
Can we date the rabbit? That would be funny. You have a manège?
うん。レーブ移動遊園地の名物なんだよ。
Oh, you just
この
read?
奥にあるから、よかった。
Thank you. I will. The rabbit bowed, waved his little hand, then sauntered over to more guests. I wonder what it's like. Merry-go-rounds, that is, manèges, varied a lot from park to park. I was curious to see this one and how it compared to my father's music box. If it's as popular as the rabbit says, I've got to see it. I set out on the path he had directed me towards. Pretty. The sun was beginning to set, dyeing the scenery in a golden tint. A pastel top and an array of colorful horses spun before me. Decorative glass gems twinkled in the sunlight. Can't be? I was awestruck. This manège was the spitting image of the one my father had made. Is this what he modeled the music box after? I never knew it was based off something. The merry-go-round came to a stop, and the riders alighted. My feet carried me forward all on their own. Every detail is spot on. It's my music box. It's like I'm seeing double. I reached my hand out to touch it. The cold metal chilled my fingers. Wait, why is it getting warmer? It happened before I could react. The fuck did you do? Blinding light flashed from the merry-go-round. What? Before I knew it, everything went white. The light had swallowed everything. I couldn't keep my eyes open. My heart pounded in my ears. Heat seethed inside me. What's happening? And then the heat vanished. Carefully, slowly, I opened my eyes. The light was gone too. I scanned the area out of pure confusion, but answers eluded me. Did I imagine all of that? Other guests exchanged looks and tilted their heads.
今のは何だったんだ？
新しい演出かしら。
Evidently, I hadn't. The guests stared at the manège for a while before they lost interest and left. I should back away before it starts moving again. I managed to pry myself away from the ride and put some distance between us. That's when I heard the footsteps. My heart nearly leaped out of my chest. Handsome. I slowly turned around. There was a man in a pale purple-hued suit and shoulder piece.
まさか、また君に会えるなんて。
Behind his dark white hair, he wore a complicated expression. He thought he'd never see me again? I had never met this man in my life. And you are?
ヒューゴだよ。覚えていないかい？君に会うのは7年ぶりだから無理もないのかな。
Oh, my chest tightened. I'm sorry, but I don't remember much from back then. I explained the incident in the river and about my amnesia. I'm sorry. He frowned for a moment, but it was soon replaced with a kind smile.
いや、謝る必要はないよ、マドモアゼル。
Please.
俺の名前はヒューゴ。このレイブ移動遊園地の園長だ。
So, you run things here.
7年前はスタッフの一人だったんだけれど、おかげさまで出世してね。
He winked playfully. Did you know my father by any chance? Florent was his name. He was an engineer.
残念ながらお父さんには会ったことがないな。俺が知っているのは君だけだよ。
I see. Considering the uncanny similarities between this merry-go-round and my music box, my hopes had been somewhat high.
ところで、今しがたマネージュに起きた異変。あの光は君が起こしたものだよね。
So it is Manège. Okay. Well, I didn't have the first clue. To claim responsibility for it felt inaccurate, to say the least. I apologized for touching the machinery, but I'm not sure what happened exactly. He offered a gentle smile.
安心して。責めているわけじゃないんだ。ただ、君の力を貸してほしいと思って。
What do you mean? After glancing side to side, he leaned in and brought his voice down to a whisper.
君は魔女だろ?
Huh? I quickly drew back.
人は自分と違うものを怖がる生き物なんだ。お前がいい魔女だったとしても誰にも言うなよ。
Arnott's words from earlier echoed in my head. No one can know. No one can find out. If this is an accusation, then you are sorely mistaken. I refuted him as firmly as I could. Monsieur Hugo appeared dejected. That's not the reaction I expected.
否定したい気持ちはわかるよ。でも、頼れる相手は君しかいないんだ。俺、ここで働く人間は、魔法でこの遊園地に囚われている。
Oh?
それは、とても強力な魔法で、俺たちにはどうすることもできない。だから、助けてほしいんだ。君の魔法で。
I don't know what to say.
分かっているよ。信じられないよね。
He grinned, although only barely this time. He seemed earnest to me, so I didn't think he was playing some sort of trick. But trapped? In an amusement park? He can't possibly think I can just believe that. He can't know what I am. I'm sorry, but I can't help you. A bell chimed, sounding the closing of the park and drowning out my words. People began traveling towards the entrance. I should be going.
待って。君に見せたいものがあるんだ。
Huh? He grabbed my hand before allowing me to answer. He didn't pull, though. He simply guided me as a gentleman would. We left the Manège and passed by a number of attractions. Before long, we had arrived back at the fountain. It seemed what he wanted to show me wasn't inside the park itself. Once he had made certain that all the guests had left, Monsieur Hugo passed through the gate. We were alone. Everyone had surely gone home by now. It was quiet. Not even birds filled with the silence. He continued on the road back to town, never letting go of my hand. Excuse me, where are we going?
俺はどこにも行かないよ。いや、行けないんだ。
We stopped. Monsieur? That's kind of hot, though. My bad. I looked up at him as he unbuttoned his collar. A pale white circle glowed on his neck. Is that a chain? The light took the form of a collar. Attached to it was an ephemeral chain leading back into the park. That's kind of hot, though. I don't know, man.
これが魔法だよ。俺たちを遊園地に縛り付けている魔法だ。
I don't believe it. Magically trapped within an amusement park. Shouldn't have been possible, but here I was faced with reality. I couldn't deny what lay before my eyes. How does this happen?
ある魔女に魔法をかけられてね。俺はもともと遊園地が好きだし、ここでの生活は充実していると言ってもいい。でも、もう何年もこの状態で、そろそろ解放されたいと思っているんだ。
Everyone's trapped like this? Not just you.
そうだよ。
But magic is a force for good. I thought there were no bad witches. I find it hard to believe a witch would do this. Witches aren't supposed to be evil.
ああ、悪い魔女はいないよ。これは事故みたいなものだったんだ。
An accident? I was reminded once again of the Seine River. I had lost a lot that day, even if I didn't remember what exactly they had been. And in addition to my father and the power I had nurtured with my mother, I had also lost an entire year's worth of memories. The people of the Rev had surely lost things themselves. They would continue to lose things so long as they remained captives.
大丈夫かい？少し怖がらせてしまったかな。
I like the way they draw his neck. It's a very pretty neck. No, I'm okay.
それならよかった。俺の話はこれで終わりだよ。君に見せたかったものはこの魔法だから。
He stepped back, and the collar and chain vanished in an instant. After a short breath, the director faced me once again.
もう一度だけ聞かせてほしい。君は魔女だろう。
人は自分と違うものを怖がる生き物なんだ。お前がいい魔女だったとしても誰にも言うなよ。
Arnaud's words came to me again. Monsieur Hugo said witches aren't evil. If he believes that, then maybe? I took a deep breath, fingers trembling. I am a witch. A sigh of relief left his lips.
勇気を出してくれてありがとう。君が魔女で本当によかった。
But I haven't been able to use magic for 7 years now. I'm not much of anything without that. He remained unfazed.
大丈夫だよ。君の魔法は眠っているだけだ。そうでなければ、あの時光は生まれなかった。
That was magic?
ああ、おそらくね。君の中の魔法と、ここに宿っている魔法が反応したからだと思う。さて、ここからが本題だけれど。
He clapped his hands together.
うちで働かないかい？君にはスタッフとして魔法の覚醒を目指してほしい。
Me? Work at the Rev?
もちろん報酬は出すよ。
I like money. I was speechless. I do love amusement parks. They remind me of Dad. It's not that I'm opposed exactly. I just...
考える時間が必要だね。
The pressure was at once alleviated. Yes, I would need to speak with the people back home before making a decision. I couldn't go agreeing to such arrangements without at least consulting with the Vincents first.
わかった。答えが出るまで待つよ。心が決まったらここへ来てほしい。君のために門は開けておくから。
Thank you.
Au revoir, mademoiselle.
Is that how you say it? I'm not sure. Monsieur Hugo waved me goodbye as I left. Bidding farewell, I started on my way home. The park soon vanished behind a veil of trees. Yet I remained in high spirits, like I was still there somehow, in that world of dreams. What a day it's been. I had just told the first person outside the Vincent family about who I was. For the first time, someone had come to me for help. They needed my magic. If my magic really is just asleep, I have to wake it up. There are people I could be helping. I want to be a kind witch, just like Mom was. Gas lanterns lit up the dark street. The warm glow almost seemed to call out to me, to guide me forward. My head remained in the clouds the entire way home. Once Arnaud had come home, I spoke with him about working at the park. I left out the part about my magic, though. I didn't want to worry him.
はあ、遊園地でスカウトされた？一日の大半は家に引きこもって本ばかり読んでるお前が？
How rude. You don't have to put it like that.
驚いたな。遊園地に行ってみたらって勧めたけど、まさかそんなことになるなんて。
Arnaud blinked several times.
それで何に悩んでるんだ？相談してきたってことは仕事に興味あるんだろ？
I am. I would very much like to work at an amusement park like my dad did. But that would take time away from things I would normally be doing to help. Cleaning, chores, and anything else that needs doing at home. It didn't feel right to run off when they had done so much for me.
まあいいんじゃないか？
You don't? What's with that word? Acquist? Surprisingly quickly.
料理以外なら母さんに頼めるし、まあ家事全般が苦手だから不安はあるけど、なんならパリにいた頃みたいに家政婦を雇ってもいい。父さんからの仕送りでお金に困ってないからな。俺だって仕事して稼いでるわけだし。
Arnaud's smile quickly turned to a frown.
ただし、とりあえずは遊園地がこの町にいる間だけだ。初めて働くわけだし、最初から深入りは禁物だからな。
Right. That seems fair. There was no guarantee my magic would ever awaken anyway.
それに、次どこへ移動するかもわからないしな。
He glanced outside the window and sighed. Wow, my voice just died. Sorry. I ate chili yesterday, so my voice is really scratchy.
母さんには俺から話しておくよ。お前は明日、ちゃんと先方に返事をするんだぞ。
I will. Thank you, Arnaud. The long day was finally coming to an end. Before bed, I picked up the music box from the dresser. I turned the key and listened to the melody as I processed the day's many events. Level 3 go? What do you mean level 3 go? Hi DHL. It really had been like someplace out of a storybook. The attractions, the performance, the smiles everywhere you looked. And then there was the Manège and its resemblance to this very music box. The light. My magic. The color of light around the director's neck and the chain that held him captive. I could only wonder and hope my magic was there somewhere, waiting for me to wake it up. Level 3 is just a normally spoken go. Is this a level 3 then? I'm so confused, bro. Internal go, I have that a lot. Give me strength, Dad. The strength to see this through. Yeah, so hard. Tiny go. I see. So many goes. I see. I held the music box to my chest. Okay, time for bed. I had to get up early to visit the Rev. I needed to give them my answer. Next morning, I made for the park while the air was still chilly. The girl at the front wasn't here. The gate, however, was open, just as I had been told it would be. Unlike yesterday, silence filled the park. Annoyed Gao and Engi Gao, what's the difference between the two? There were no kids frolicking around the fountain, no parents to scold them. My legs carried me further. They led me towards the Manège. We hadn't planned the meeting place. But somehow I knew I would find him there. And there he was.
答えが出たんだね。
He had noticed me at once. I do. I'd like to work with you, as long as the park is in Blankborg, at least.
ブランブールを離れたらお別れかい？
Bramburg. So Blankborg? I don't know. Ah, I see. Engigo is loud. Okay, got it. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. There's no telling how things will go with my magic, after all.
それもそうだね。じゃあ。
Monsieur Hugo stepped forward and extended his hand.
短い間だけど。よろしく。
I wanna date the guy in the rabbit costume, just cause it sounds funny. Likewise, monsieur. We exchanged a firm handshake. I now had a job to do. I had to awaken my magic and free the people of La Foire du Rêve. So sorry for butchering it. So rose the curtain on my new life. Please give me a little bit of a taste of the routes, please. Cute. Is that a diorama? Probably gonna get copyrighted for this part. Pretty heroine. Oh, Umehara Yuichiro. I fucking knew it was Shimonohiro. I knew it. I called it. Ooh, nice piano. I want to date him. Can we date him, please? Ooh. Ooh, okay. Ooh. I like the sad emo blue guy. Ooh, I like that. Aww. I want to date the bunny so bad. Please don't tell me the demo's already over. I have a streak of like really short live streams these past few times. Okay, thank God. Yay! Chapter 1!
スタッフになった君にはこの遊園地のことをよく知ってもらわないといけないね。周りを見ていてごらん。
Okay. I did so. I saw pastel attractions, automatons behind counters, and of course, the prominent fountain. What exactly am I looking for?
瞬きしないで。
Monsieur Hugo snapped his fingers. I didn't blink. Oh? What? There was a flash of light, and suddenly everything was gone. Only the Manège and the automatons remained. What just happened?
ここは魔法でできた遊園地でね。園長である俺の意志で消すことができるんだ。実在するもの以外はだけれど。
He gestured to the Manège and the automatons.
遊園地を自在に出し入れできるなんて便利なようだけれど、現実も幻想も全て一緒に動く必要がある。だから俺たちの行動は制限されているんだ。マネージと行けるところは限られているからね。
He shrugged. That certainly sounds complicated. Reality and fiction are all merging together in one place. It sounds like something out of a storybook. It must be hard having to live it, though. I'll do everything I can to awaken my magic and free you all. I promise.
ありがとう。そう言ってもらえて嬉しいよ。
The director smiled softly before snapping his fingers again.
じゃあ早速だけれど君の中に眠る魔法を覚醒させてみようか。
Already? I hadn't expected for it to happen so soon.
ああ、ごめんね。心の準備がまだだったかな。
Monsieur Hugo peered down at me with concern. I'm not quite sure, really. Can I save? How do I save? Okay. Cute balloons. He'd probably like it if I just say no. I'm okay. I answered as firmly as I could.
いい返事だね。君の魔法を覚醒させるために僭越ながら俺がエスコートさせてもらうよ。
He winked.
君は無意識のうちに魔法の力を眠らせている。それを少しずつゆっくりと起こしていこう。目を閉じて集中して自分の内に秘めた魔法に意識を向けるんだ。何か感じるかい？
There's a light. I can see it.
それは目覚める可能性がある魔法だね。さあ、手で触れて集めてみて。
Huh? A mini game? I thought I could just cruise around. Use the cursor or left click to gather as many fragments of magical light as you can within the time limit. Okay.
準備はいいかい？
Oh.
その
Good
まま
thing I'm
続けて。
on touchscreen.
魔法の光を捉えるんだ。
Wow, I still suck even though I'm on
いい調子だね。
touchscreen. Can't even cheat, right? Wait, no, I'm good. Skill. Huh, the light's gone.
集中力が切れてしまったんだね。無理もない。
But I got
とても繊
perfect.
細な作業だから。最後に集めた魔法を目覚めさせよう。魔法が中心にまとまった瞬間にタイミングよく刺激するんだ。うまくいけば覚醒するはずだよ。
I'll try. Left click, press enter or spacebar when to start. I don't know because my controls are different.
調子が出ないときは誰にでもあるよ。気にしないで。
Probably because I don't have like a space or enter, huh? Avail level up? Yay! I'm finished. I don't feel very different though.
それはそうだよ。魔法をわずかに覚醒させただけだからね。実感はないかもしれない。でも完璧だったよ。初めてで成功させるなんて君はすごいな。ご褒美は何がいい？キスでいいかな。
Okay, I immediately don't like him. What?
まだ早かったかな。
Immediately don't like him. I'm very upset. Only after I had heard his childish laugh did it hit me that he was teasing. So he has a playful side. Duly noted.
魔法は時間をかけてゆっくり覚醒させていこう。地道な作業だから焦りが出るかもしれないけれど。
Yes, of course. Thank goodness, that's one less thing to worry about. The subject had always weighed heavily on my mind compared to many other concerns. I could feel the tension leaving my shoulders. You know an awful lot about magic. Is there another witch you're acquainted with?
いや、霊部から解放される方法を探すうちに自然と詳しくなったんだ。これほどの知識を身につけるまで長い道のりだったな。
That makes sense. The reason I'm here must be because he's tried everything else. Monsieur Hugo stared off into the distance. His elegant smile soon returned, though.
さて、そろそろ遊園地の裏側に案内しよう。契約の話もあるし、他のスタッフにも君を紹介しないとね。さあ、マドモアゼル、こちらへ。
Thank you. I followed closely behind. Oh, that's right. Shortly after we had left the Manège, I remembered something very important. May I ask a question?
一つでいいのかい？君の質問にならいくつでも答えるよ。
His perpetual eloquence was something I would have to get used to. Thank you, but just one is enough for now.
そう。それで聞きたいことというのは？
It's about your Manège. Are you aware of any music boxes based on its likeness?
オルゴール？
He tilted his head in thought. I'm referring to one my late father gave me before he passed. It looks just like the Manège here. It's not just a passing resemblance either.
そういうものがあるとは知らなかった。少なくともうちでは作っていないから、誰かが真似て作ったものだろうね。
My father must have been. He was always a skilled craftsman.
そうか。
I've hit a dead end. If Monsieur Hugo never knew my father, then it all must have been a coincidence. I was certain there would have been some kind of connection, but I suppose that had all been wishful thinking. I apologize. I didn't mean to pry. It was just weighing on my mind.
いや、気になることがあれば何でも聞いてくれて構わないよ。
He smiled at me. We had only just met, and yet I felt an oddly familiar sense of calm wash over me. Conversations have never been my strong suit, but something about him is so inviting. Before long, we had arrived at a large tent-like building. We timidly stepped inside. The interior was many times larger than I had anticipated. It had been furnished with all the essentials of a workplace: desks, tables, and shelves.
ようこそ遊園地の裏側へ。
余計な気遣いかもしれないが、執務テントと説明した方が立。
The tall man I had met the day prior quipped back at Monsieur Hugo.
少し夢のある言い方をしてみたのさ。
まったくあなたは。
紹介するよ。彼はセルジュ。レイブの経理を担当している。
Pleased to meet you. I'm Vere. I suppose we'll be co-workers from now on.
セルジュだ。ヒューゴから話は聞いている。
His eyes are pretty. Sergio's expression was stone-like as he pulled a sheet of paper from the desk.
労働契約書を用意しておいた。書面の内容を確認してサインをしてくれ。
Right, okay. The man's business-like demeanor quickly revived the anxiety I had only just rid myself of. Monsieur Hugo patted him on the back.
笑顔を忘れているよ、セルジュ。女の子にはにこやかに接しないと。
It's okay. I like resting bitch faces. 仰せのままに。The The edges of his lips twisted up into the shape of a smile. A smile it was, technically, in the most generous sense. I hate to be rude, but this somehow makes me even more uncomfortable.
何か
No, nothing.
君は期待を裏切らないね。
何を笑っているんだ、ヒューゴ。あなたがこうしろと言ったんだろう。
You, really don't have to force yourself on my account.
そうか。なら、元に戻させてもらう。
もうおしまいか。残念だ。
Sergei returned to his stoicism, much to the director's great disappointment.
契約書はこれだ。
Took the paper and scanned over it. Much of the language was difficult to parse, but I managed to decipher the main points. I would probably only be employed for the time the Rev was present in Blancbourg. Magic was to be practiced before opening and after closing. The rest of my time could be used at my own discretion. What does my own discretion mean?
ここで過ごしてもいいし、家に帰ってもいい。
Oh,
どう
nice.
時間を使うかはあなたの自由だ。
I'm being paid though, aren't I? It hardly seems fair that all I do is practice magic.
だが、そういう契約だ。違ったか、ヒューゴ。
いや、合っているよ。君には魔法の覚醒に専念してもらいたいんだ。
I see. The arrangement didn't sit right with me, even if that was technically what I had agreed to do. He may insist, but still. Isn't there a way I could help with work around the park?
魔法の覚醒と遊園地の仕事、どちらもやるつもりかい？
If I'm going to be working here, I'd like to be of some use, at least. If that's okay?
いや、負担にならないのなら素敵な提案だよ。ああ、でも制服が。
それなら問題ない。用意がある。
How dependable. Oh, how cute. Sergei swiftly retrieved a uniform from a dresser. The majority of the uniform was a beautiful white and pink affair, patterned with stars that contrasted brightly against the colors. It even came with a matching cap and boots. It's beautiful.
別にあなたのために用意しておいたわけじゃない。
Yes, yes.
常に不測の事態に備えているだけだ。
さすがセルジュ。君の用意周到さにはいつも頭が下がるよ。
あなたの期待に応えるのが私の仕事だからな。
Sergei handed me the clothes, then set about amending the contract.
これで要件は満たしたか。問題がなければ契約書にサインを。
Thank you. I gave the contract one last look before signing my name.
確認した。これであなたはレーブの正式な一員だ。
来てくれてありがとう。改めて君を歓迎するよ。
I'm glad to be here. I bowed to them. Monsieur Hugo then exchanged glances with Sergei. The latter nodded back before looking at the door.
クララ、近くにいるんだろう。入ってきてくれないか。
A girl I recognized entered. It's the woman I met at the gate.
こんにちは。昨日会ったわよね。受付を担当してるクラだよ。
I'm Vedic. I look forward to working with you.
彼女もスタッフとして働くことになった。着替えのために部屋を貸してもらえるか。
魔法の訓練だけじゃなくて遊園地の仕事もしてくれるの？
内容はまだ決まっていないけれどね。やりたいと彼女から申し出てくれたんだ。
へえ、あなたって優しいのね。
I'm useless when it comes to magic right now, so I want to do what I can in the meantime.
気に入ったわ。私の部屋はこっちよ。ついて。
Clara grinned from ear to ear. I held my uniform to my chest and followed her out.
これでよしと。うんうん。髪型も帽子の位置もバッチリね。
Cute! Oh my gosh, she's so cute! You think so?
大丈夫大丈夫。とっても可愛いわ。じゃあ戻りましょうか。
Yeah. Donned in my new clothes, I followed Clara as she stepped out of her tent. Each of the staff apparently had one of their own. Meals and showers were shared, but living spaces were separate. Thank you for all your help, Clara.
お礼なんていいわよ。大したことはしてないし。それと、私のことはクララでいいわ。というか、ヒューゴさんとセルジュさん以外はみんな呼び捨てで大丈夫よ。年も近いだろうし。
So they're fucking old?
あなた年は
17?
ほんと？私も17よ。同い年ね。
Clara's eyes lit
レイ
up.
ブの女子は私だけだったから、あなたが来てくれてよかった。これから仲良くしてね。それと、敬語も必要ないから。
Right, yeah. I like that, Clara. She's so nice.
じゃあ、最初のお仕事よ。頑張ってね。
Clara gave me a gentle push on the back as soon as we made it back to the administrative tent. Huh? What job? Ah! I looked around the room, which now included people I had yet to meet.
みんな紹介するよ。今日からレイブで働く新しい仲間だ。自己紹介をお願いできるかな、マドモアゼル。
Right. My name is Vera and I'll be working with you all starting from today. I'm technically a witch, but I can't use magic yet. I intend to help out while I get a handle on it. For as long as you're in Blackboard, at least, I'm going to do everything in my power to free you all. Despite how clumsy it was, my introduction garnered scattered applause. Can't say I have to do that very often. My heart is still pounding. Let out a sigh to calm my nerves. Meanwhile, the rabbit stepped forward and bowed.
僕の名前はリオン。
How cute.
短い間だけどよろしくね。ああ、僕の方が年下だと思うから呼び捨てで敬語は使わなくて大丈夫だよ。
Really? Okay then. It's nice to meet you, Leon. Cute. He must really love his job if he's already in costume. Next to him was the boy who had performed yesterday, scowling in a most displeased manner.
クリエだ。
That's definitely Shimonohiro, right? And that was it for his introduction. I get the feeling he doesn't like me.
業務について不明な点があれば私かヒューゴに聞いてくれ。
I will.
もう間もなく開演の時刻だ。各自準備を再開してくれ。
はい。
They promptly vacated the tent. Zarge returned to his desk and set about working on some documents. What now? As my eyes wandered for something to do, they met with Monsieur Hugo's. He smiled back cheerfully.
タイミングがなくて言えていなかったけれど、その制服とてもよく似合っている。髪型も可愛いね。
Thank you. Clara helped me tie it up.
清潔感があってスタッフにふさわしいね。そんな素敵な君に早速仕事をお願いしてもいいかな。
I do.
みんなの仕事ぶりを見学してきてもらいたい。見て回るうちにこの遊園地にもなれるだろう。興味のある仕事場から優先してもらって構わないよ。モチベーションは何よりも大切だからね。
I'll do that and try to stay out of people's hair.
よろしくね。じゃあ俺も出てくるよ。正門でお客さんを出迎えないといけないから。また後で会おう。まずはレイブを楽しんで。
Monsieur Hugo's exited the tent, leaving only me and Sergei. Okay, where to go? I'm gonna save that first. No. Okay, before I do anything, I'm going to go to the toilet first, so be right back. Alright, I'm back. So, I think I kinda wanna do Sergey first. I found a walkthrough that said, that recommends like a... Well, I guess I'll do it all, fuck it, cause I'm on the demo anyway, so I guess I can do everyone. Okay, I'll do Sergey first. I decided to stay behind and see how Sergey did his job. He tapped away at his typewriter in utter silence. There wasn't very much to observe from what I could see. I'll scooch in closer. Sergey suddenly whipped around. His sharp eyes bore into me.
何をしているんだ
Watching how you do your work?
見学はヒューゴの指示だったな
He let out a small sigh. So, what exactly does it entail?
発注書の作成だ
He returned to typing without another word. I had the sneaking suspicion that he wasn't particularly interested in elaborating. I suppose I'll leave him alone and watch quietly.
見学はまだ終わらないのか
Sorry? It's barely been 2 minutes.
悪いが、私は限界だ。別の場所を見学してくれ。
But I...
頼むから出て行ってくれ。
Sad. I departed from the tent at Sergei's vehement behest. Where to next? I had been all over, but there were still so many other places to see.
見学は順調かい？
I turned to see Monsieur Hugo. Monsieur, hello. I think I've seen about half of the park now.
じゃあ一息ついたらどうかな。そろそろお昼だからね。
Is it really? All of a sudden I felt very hungry. Where does everyone normally eat here?
俺たちはスタッフ用の食堂を使うけれど、
A childish smirk spread across his face.
君は屋台で食べたらどうだい？オートマタの仕事ぶりも見学しておかないとね。
Are you sure employees should be eating from them though?
今日は特別だよ。ほら、俺の気が変わらないうちに行っておいで。
Sounds fun. I suppose I will. He handed me a meal ticket. I took it over to the stalls. Oh, that smells wonderful. The warm aroma of cinnamon wafting off freshly fried churros made it impossible not to grin. I sat down on the edge of the fountain and took a satisfyingly crispy bite. The attractions, the performances, and even the food. I've never been to a more perfect amusement park. I was on the job, of course, but I was genuinely having the time of my life too. Everyone gets on with their lives just like the rest of us, and yet they're all trapped. It's so easy to forget. This place feels like a dream. Oh, it's raining. Okay, I'm gonna save, and then I'm gonna see what happens when we go check everyone else in their jobs. Okay, let's go to the gate. I made my way to the front gate where I found Monsieur Hugo greeting guests.
ようこそレーブ移動遊園地へ。足を運んでいただき感謝いたします。心ゆくまで夢の時間をお楽しみください。
Wow, there's so many people. A long line of guests sneaked down past the gates, only gradually shortening as people bought their tickets. It warmed my heart to see so many people here visit the amusement park. Monsieur Hugo noticed me and came over once there was a lull in the guests.
一番に会いに来てくれたのかい？また君の顔が見られて嬉しいよ。
His beaming smile caught me a little by surprise. I wanted to see the kind of work a park director does.
そうなんだ。
Do you come out to greet guests every morning?
うん。園長は遊園地の顔でもあるし、どんな人が来ているのか知る必要があるからね。子供が多ければ子供向けの催しを増やすし、大人が多ければ落ち着いた雰囲気に変える。
I see. Interesting. Being a director sure sounds like a complicated job.
じゃあ、俺はお客さんのところに戻るけれど、君は好きなだけここにいてくれて構わないよ。
Thank you. I continued to watch until the influx of guests slowed to a crawl. Okay, and then... the fountain. Ah, it's Shimonohiro. Krier? I think he said his name like Krier. I spotted Krier at the fountain, putting on his juggling act. The park had only been open for minutes, but a large crowd had already formed.
メルシー、見てくれてありがとう。今日最初のパフォーマンスはこれで終わりだ。また後で別のを披露するから、よかったら遊びに来てくれ。
Krier or Krier? I'll just say Krier, because I'm pretty sure he said Krier. Krier grabbed his things, waved goodbye to his friends, then caught my gaze as he was leaving. His expression changed in an instant.
なんだよ、俺。
I'm only here to watch. The director asked me to tour the park.
だったら他へ行けよ。俺のパフォーマンスは終わったところだ。
I'd be interested in seeing what goes into it, though. Where are you off to next?
別にどこだっていいだろう。
This isn't going very well. He really must not like me. He was nothing like this to his audience. I racked my brain for anything I might have done to offend him, but nothing came to mind. Hi, welcome. It's okay. Thank you for coming.
まあ、ついてきたいっつうなら好きにしろよ。作業が地味すぎて幻滅しても知らねえけどな。
So, I can go with you?
いいとは言ってない。勝手にしろって話だ。
Sorry.
別に謝ることじゃねえけど。
Is he a tsundere? I love him already. So, does that mean I can shadow him? I'm confused.
おい、行くぞ。ぼさっとしてんなよ。次の準備があるんだからな。
Coming. That's a relief. At least he doesn't hate me. I tailed Krier as he performed all throughout the park. Teacups. My favorite! I made my way to the teacups, where I found Leon just like I had yesterday. He seemed to be in the process of being accosted by a stray cat.
猫さん落ち着いて。君をいじめたりしないから。
How cute! Leon's platitudes fell on deaf ears.
どうしよう。
How do I handle this? Come here, kitty. It's okay. Don't be scared. I crouched down low and approached it carefully. Kitty! The cat quickly lowered its guard and weaved through my legs. After a few scritches, the little guy wandered off, satisfied with the attention.
ありがとう。君が来てくれて助かったよ。
I'm glad I could help. I bet the costume probably scared it.
そうなのかな。それだけじゃない気がするけど。
You think? Leon tilted his head. I could tell he must have been perplexed under that mask.
ああ、考え込んでる場合じゃなかった。お仕事しなくちゃ。
Would you mind if I stick around to observe? I'm taking a look at everyone's jobs.
もちろんだよ。わからないことがあったら何でも聞いてね。
Thank you. He seems like a nice person. I'd like to look him in the eye at some point. I hung around the teacups for a while, watching the yellow rabbit do his thing. Last one. Employees' tents. I strolled towards the staff tents, curious about how everyone got by around here. I know Clara's tent, but the others? They were all different colors, but other than that, there was no way to differentiate between whose was whose. My imagination ran amok as I wondered. Until... Oh. The emo boy. What was that? I could have sworn I had just seen someone out of the corner of my eye. When I turned to look though, there wasn't a soul to be seen. Although I surveyed around, the figure never reappeared. Maybe someone came by to grab something. I resumed my tour. Alright, let's reload. Clouds began to gather that afternoon. The rain came soon after. Threads like silk poured from the sky without warning. A stir went through the park as people ran for cover from the downpour. Piano! I hope it stops soon. I wasn't the only anxious one.
いつ晴れるかな。早くティーカップに乗りたいよ。
雨が止まなかったらもう帰るの？せっかく遊園地に来たのにつまんない。
The children were beginning to get restless. I'd feel so awful for the guests if this goes on all day.
君も雨は退屈かい？
No, I'm just worried about the guest.
それなら心配は無用だよ。彼に任せておけばいい。
Whose? He can play the piano! Oh my God. Okay, I'm definitely going for him first. Monsieur Hugo directed me to Sergei with his gaze.
遠くの空は晴れている。
I followed his eyes skyward. He was right. The sky was only partly covered, and it seemed clear a little further off.
通り雨が去るまで私が対応しよう。
よろしく。期待しているよ。
Guys who can play music, it's just amazing.
ああ、分かっている。
And it's such a pretty piano too. Sergei slowly and deliberately made his way across the pavilion. In the back was the piano. I had assumed it was for decoration, but evidently not. After some short preparations, Sergei took a seat and placed his hands on the keys. He's gonna save. There was a moment of stillness. Maga. Wow. I like the song. A gentle melody began to flow from Sergei's fingers. The rain all but vanished thanks to his dulcet tones. Even the children were entranced. They couldn't help but listen. Just like that, the restlessness dissipated. It's beautiful. He plays so gently. I can't believe this is the same Sergei I met this morning.
セルジュの担当は経理だけれど、雨の日だけはこうしてパフォーマンスをするんだ。素敵な演奏だろう？雨は退屈じゃないと思わせてくれる。
You're right. The weather's the last thing on my mind right now. I almost wish it would last longer. Sergei played several pieces until the rain had well and truly passed. Each and every tune carried that same gentleness, that same tranquility. It was, in a word, beautiful.
皆さん、ご清聴ありがとうございました。
He bowed as the guests showered him with applause. The sky was clear and a perfect rainbow stretched across it.
素敵な演奏をありがとう、セルジュ。
The director offered his gratitude at once. I should say something too. What would he like? I don't know. That was beautiful. That was beautiful, Sergei. Oh, he likes that, okay. He seemed to struggle to speak for a moment.
そうか。
He averted his eyes, but I didn't sense any bitterness in his response. So, you play every time it rains?
来園者を退屈させるわけにはいかないからな。通り雨で帰られて、売り上げが落ちては困る。
His words betrayed just a little of the kindness I had felt earlier. I'm sure profits are important to his for finances, but I get the feeling he likes to make people smile too. You were very good. Everyone was stunned silent.
昔に比べて腕は落ちたかな。
Oh no, an emo piano player? He looked down at his right hand. It really was a beautiful performance. And that must mean Sergei is a beautiful person. I'd like to think so, at least. That's kind of mean, because my piano playing sucked. Does this mean I'm a bad person? Ouch. He had been somewhat standoffish at first, but now I realized he was only like that on the surface. The recital had changed my entire impression of him. I'll be here again tomorrow. Have a good night.
お疲れ様。気をつけて帰ってね。
I will. I ducked out of the administrative tent. The sun had set long ago, and the stars were twinkling. I made it through my first day. I had taken a look at everyone's shops, and my magic practice at closing had gone well too. I've got a long way to go, but I think I can say I'm proud of today. And I will be tomorrow too. I mattered to no one in particular. Contrasted against the stillness of the park, my self-encouragement sounded almost enthusiastic. But then, I heard footsteps. I glanced around until I found someone loitering in the distance. Bunny? Who is that? I didn't recognize him. He looked about my age, maybe younger. He must be an employee I haven't met if he's here after hours. That looks like the Rev's uniform too. Before I could say anything though, the boy walked away. Alright, I had better get home. I exited through the gate and returned to the familiar roads. Somehow though, after a long day of work, they felt almost untrodden. Oh, and it started raining here too. Chapter 2. So I heard the demo has 3 chapters, either prologue count or we're getting 4 chapters including the prologue. We'll see. It was the morning of my second day working at the Rev. After my early magic practice, I found Kriya already in the administrative tent. He was in the middle of polishing some of his juggling equipment. Good morning, Kriya.
Oh.
He responded without so much as a glance in my direction. There's definitely a wall between us. I retreated to a corner where I waited out the awkward silence.
Ohio?
Clara's voice brightened the mood at once. Morning, Clara.
今日も顔が見られてよかった。初日で嫌になってもう来ないんじゃないかって心配してたのよ。
Not at all. Thank you for your concern, though.
何か困ったことがあれば言ってね。私たち一緒に働く仲間なんだから。
Well, isn't she nice? Her smile wiped away any remaining anxiety I had. Come to think of it, a question sprung to mind. Hey, Not that it's a big deal or anything, but I saw a boy about my age after closing last night. He seemed nice, but I didn't recognize him. He had on a uniform, so I was wondering if there was anyone else I haven't met yet.
優しそうな男の子？
Clara put a finger on his chin and tilted his head.
一体誰かしら？ねえクリエ、
あ
心当たりある？
さあな。でも会ってないのってあいつだけだろ。
そうだけど、
優
優しそうな男の子じゃないわよね。
冷血メガネのセルジェさんよりマシだけどな。
Clara turned back to me.
整備士のルシオールかもしれないけど、あなたの話と合わないのよ。他にスタッフはいないはずだし。後でヒューゴさんに聞いてみるわ。
Thank you. If even Clara doesn't know, who could it possibly be? It's Bunny! Just then, Sergey ducked into the tent.
クリエはいるか？
ああ、ここにいるよ。何かあったのか？
買い出しに行ってもらえるか？オートマタの修理をするのに部品が足りないとヒューゴに頼まれた。
休園日でいいだろう。午前のパフォーマンスだってあるんだし。
いや、急ぎで頼みたい。今日中に修理して明日には稼働させたいんだ。
いやでも新作の披露が
悪いが選択肢はない。外に出られるのはクリエ、お前だけなんだからな。
Oh, interesting. Huh? I doubted my ears for a second. I thought everyone was trapped here. Is Krier the exception?
仕方ねえな。
部品のリストと代金はここに。
お、結構多いな。まあこの数なら1往復でなんとか。
ついでに紙とインクも頼む。
Krier grimaced dramatically.
出たな、ついで。この部品の数でついでなんてねえよ。
持ちきれると思ったか？
Sergey looked Krier up and down. Mostly down.
おいこら、人を見下ろすな。ついでにチビだから持ちきれないとか見下してるんだろ。
いや、冷静に分析していたところだ。
分析ね。で、その結果どうなんだよ。
Sergey looked my way. Me?
あなたにクリエの手伝いを頼みたい。
Of course. My voice shot up an octave out of surprise.
はあ？なんだよ、手伝いって。俺一人で十分だろ。
Why are you
一人
so
で持ちきれないとい
sad?
うのなら二人で行くべきだろう。違うか？
それは違わねえけど、でもその子守なんかしたくねえっていうか。
I felt a prick in my chest. I couldn't use magic, and I had only just begun working for the Rev. His appraisal of me wasn't wrong as I would have liked it to be. Still, it hurts to hear.
ちょっとクリエ、なんてこと言うのよ。
お前には関係ないだろ
あるわよ。それに彼女は子供じゃないわ。私たちと同じ17歳で大人なんだから。
同感だ。彼女は幼児ではない。子守という言葉は当てはまらないだろ
う。そういう意味じゃねえ。役立たずの新人連れてっても邪魔だって話だよ。
That way. I was well aware of how little I added to the team, but to hear it put so plainly was just painful. Babysitting, that way. His harsh words weighed heavily on me, to the point I could scarcely even hold my head up to look the others in the eye.
クリエの言うことなんて気にしちゃダメよ。
But it's the truth. My chest swelled with suffocating self-pity. If I weren't such a failure of a witch, maybe I'd be worth something. Silence lingered in the room. Krier was the one to finally break in.
なあ、もう分かったよ。ほら行くぞ、新人。仕方ねえから手伝わせてやる。
He patted me on the back. My head shot up. You're sure?
しけた面されてるとやる気が失せる。こき使ってやるから覚悟しとけ。
Of course.
最初からそうすればいいのに。
まったくだな。
うるせえ。
Saw the faintest hint of color on Krier's cheeks as he passed me by. Was he blushing?
あ、クリエ、ここにいたのか。
Just as we were about to leave, though, Monsieur Hugo appeared.
オートマタの部品のことならも
ついでにブランデーを買ってきてもらえるかな。いつものチーズも頼むよ。
う。またついでかよ。
それと新しいチラシが届いたから配ってきてもらいたい。
たく、人使いが荒いな。
頼りきりでごめんね。おかげで助かっているよ。
Krier took the bundle of flyers from the director and then made another attempt to leave.
じゃあ行って。
クリエさん。
Leon, donned in his signature bunny costume, appeared next.
本屋さんで絵本を買ってきてほしいんだ。買い出しのついでにお願いできるかな。
A heavy sigh left his lips. I can probably tell what he's thinking.
あれ、僕変なこと言ったかな。
Krier remained silent, so I spoke up for him. No, it's not you, Leon. What sort of book are you looking for?
僕まだ読んでいない絵本が読みたくて、この町にしかない絵本があれば欲しいな。
Got it. I'll keep an eye out.
ありがとう。
He bowed politely, waved goodbye, and then exited the tent. Clara and Monsieur Hugo followed.
俺たちも行くか。
Right?
買い出しは俺の仕事とはいえ、ついでで散々走られるのは納得いかねえよ。
Krier started complaining as soon as we were on our way. I can't blame him for feeling that way after what I saw. Is this typically how these jobs go for you?
まあな。でもセルジュさんより背が高かったらちゃんと言い返せると思うんだよ。
Is height relevant to the problem?
決まってんだろ、あの冷血メガネ。いつも俺を見下ろしやがって。
I think you have a complex, my guy. He continued to fume, but that seems to have been the last of his grievances. Oh, I should ask him the question I had. It was possible it was my only chance. How can you leave the park here? I thought everyone in the roof was trapped.
俺は例外なんだよ。
Really? I waited for a response, but it never came. If you're free, then why are you with the Rev?
さあな。
He left no room for further prying. Interesting! Alright, alright. We soon reached the town. A number of shops lined Blanchebourg's busiest street.
まずはオートマタの部品からだな。売ってそうな店は。
I think the general goods store up ahead sells them. I pointed a ways down the street.
そっか。お前はここに住んでるんだったな。その調子で俺の足を引っ張るなよ。
You know, you're kind of really rude. I usually like tsunderes, but you're kind of being a little too rude. I'm gonna backhand you. I'll certainly try. We quickly gathered everything we needed from the general store. Krier surveyed the rest of the shop.
部品以外もあれば買いたいな。
I think I saw paper and ink.
じゃあ紙とインクと封筒を買っていくか。
Did they ask for? Krier cut me off with an explanation.
用紙が足りなくなってる時は封筒もないことが多いからな。一緒に買っておいた方がいいんだよ。
That makes sense. He seems awfully considerate for someone who was grumbling just moments ago.
買ってくるからここで待ってろ。
I found myself admiring his initiative as he made for the counter. After finishing the director and Leon's request, our luggage has expanded exponentially. And after all that walking too. It's hard to believe Krier usually does this all by himself.
思ったより早く終わったな。おい新人、この辺りにあるっていうパティスリーを知ってるか？うまいアップルタルトを出すって評判らしいんだ。
Oh, do you mean Bonheur? It's fairly well known. I've only been once myself.
そこだ。ポム・ボヌール。
Bonheur.
案内してくれ。
Can do.
すっげえいい匂い。
The sweet aroma of fresh tarts hit us with the moment we opened the door. Kia was practically glowing. This was the best mood I had ever seen him in. So he likes sweets. That's a surprise.
この店のこと、レイブのお客さんに聞いてさ、ずっと来たいと思ってたんだ。期待通り、いや、期待以上って感じだな。まだ食べてねえけど。一つだけって決めてたけど、二つにするかな。本当はホールで食いたいけどな。
Has he always been this talkative?
よし、決めた。三つだ。お前はどうする？
You should try it first to see if you like it before you buy 3. I can get something too.
ここに来て食べないとかありえないだろう。ほら、どうする？さっさと決めろよ。
I'll take 2 then. Kier waved over an employee.
すみません。アップルタルト5つお願いします。
Oh, that looks so good. Shortly after, our table was filled with apple tarts. Moist slices of the fruit rest on top of a toasty brown filling, which had been baked to perfection. Cute.
Oh.
Kier cut a generously sized mouthful and took a bite, followed suit with similar enthusiasm. We both swallowed and shared a glance. It's delicious. The fragrance complemented the sweetness of the adorning apples. Beyond that, the filling itself gave rise to a more sophisticated and complex flavor profile.
このクレームダマンド、最高だな。
And the raisins too. I hate raisins.
わかる。いい仕事してるよな。パイのサクサク感も最高だし、なんつうかこれは本当の本当に最高だ。
A pure, genuine smile spread across his face. I had never seen anything like it. So that's what his smile looks like. I was so used to seeing him frown. His cheerful mood was almost contagious.
何笑ってんだよ。
You just have such a cute smile. Krier's cheeks quickly turned a deep shade of red.
違うんだ。これはただアップルタルトが。
It's good, isn't it?
いや。
You stared and floundered for a while, but it quickly turned to ire.
お前、新人のくせに先輩をからかうな。この店を知ってたからって調子に乗るなよ。
Ah, Shimonohiro makes a great tsundere. It's so cute.
なんだよ、いい笑顔。何やってんだよ、俺は。
His incredulity turned anger, faded with a sigh. We proceeded to eat in silence. The quietness stung all the more in the absence of our once good mood. I thought we were finally getting closer. I've got to find something to talk about before we go right back to how we were. I don't know. Other sweets, perhaps? I know a place that serves good macarons too.
ああ、マカロンか。あれもうまいよな。
I can take you there sometimes if you like. They really are delicious.
お前、アップルタルトより マカロンの方が好きみたいだな。
I don't like macaron, it's too sweet. I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
別に責めてるわけじゃねえよ。いいんじゃねえの、マカロンも。
Oh,
今度その店教えてくれよ。アップルタルト以外は詳しくないんだ。
his expression softened just a little.
ずっと気になってたんだけどさ。
Okay. I think this is not the right answer. I'm gonna try the other one. Talk about the tart? I haven't had these tarts in a long time. A good friend of mine took me here a few years ago. It's even better than I remember, honestly.
パティシエは毎日腕を磨いてるんだ。前より上手くて当然だろ。
Okay, I don't know which one he likes better. Oh, right.
お前な。
He still seemed a little wary of me, but at least he was a bit more relaxed.
ずっと気になってたんだけどさ。
I think the macaron one was better. Sorry, I'm min-maxing here. Oh yeah, they even show me that it's a bad choice. Kier quickly changed the subject.
お前の喋り方、どうにかなんねえのか。まどろっこしいんだよ。敬語って。
I'm sorry, I just...
先輩に反論する気か？
No, sorry.
だから敬語やめろって。
Sorry.
あと俺のことはクリエって呼べ。同い年だってクララも言ってたしな。
Okay, thanks.
そうだ、それでいい。敬語は聞いてて疲れるんだよ。
This does mean we're closer, doesn't it? Or am I just wearing him out? I took the last bite of my dessert. We started on our way back to the Rev for that evening. Krier carried the newest addition to our load, a small box. He had ordered a piece of cake, a piece to take back with us. Just a piece? Is that for someone else?
ああ、
He left it at that. Would he be offended if I asked who? Ultimately, I decided not to press him on it. I didn't want to squander what progress we had made. Well, unless I just imagined all of it. Regardless, I feel like I understood him a little better. He was a good person who liked sweets. It's still mostly a mystery, but I'll consider it as a success. I walked next to him, distinctly aware of the invisible wall separating us. It was my third day at the Rev. I was setting about my duties just before opening time. Time to make some progress. Can I not? Oh yes, thank God, yes please. Wonder if I'm getting any better. I was doing exactly as I had been told, but it was hard to tell if I was really improving. Then again, that too could be the fault of my own inexperience.
魔法の訓練中？
I turned around and met eyes with a yellow bunny. Meow. Just finished, actually.
毎日朝早くから大変だね。僕たちのためにありがとう。
I'm only following through on what I promised. Also, you're working just as hard as me.
え？僕も？
His ears dangled as he tilted his head. How cute! I've always admired your work ethic. You're in costume, and the park isn't even open yet.
そうなのかな。
He didn't seem to understand. Perhaps he had simply become that accustomed to his own dedication. Were you inspecting the park, or just going for a walk?
ああ、そうだった。僕、話があってきたんだ。あの絵本、君が選んでくれたんだよね。
Picture book? I searched my memory. I soon recalled the book I had bought at his request during my outing with Krier. You said you wanted something new and unique, so I assumed the local author would be a safe bet.
うん、全然知らない絵本だった。絵がすごく綺麗だよね。表紙のユニコーンに見とれちゃったよ。
I remember feeling the same. The story is lovely. But I apologize if it wasn't the sort of thing you like.
うんうん。お話もとっても面白かったよ。昨日の夜、何回も読み返しちゃった。
How cute. Really?
本当だよ。
I couldn't see his face, yet I had a feeling he must have been smiling.
僕のために絵本を選んでくれてありがとう。とっても嬉しかったよ。
I'm happy you like it. Thank you for saying so, Leon.
僕が感謝しているのに、君がお礼を言うなんておかしいね。
Couldn't help myself. I giggled along with him. Something about the gentleness of his voice soothed the soul. It's strange how much I feel I can trust him without having seen his face. Any anxiety I had had regarding my magic had been swiftly dispelled.
うさぎだ。
うさぎさん、待って待って。
Children swarmed towards Leon shortly after the park had opened.
わあ、みんな元気いっぱいだね。今日はいっぱい楽しんでいってね。
The park's only just opened too. Costume mascots was an interesting sight regardless of who was behind the mask, but I had a feeling it only helped in Leon's case.
着ぐるみに夢中になってるとか。お前は子供か。
Creator was setting up for a show nearby. It's not the costume so much as it is Leon himself.
ああ、確かに不思議なやつだよな。四六時中あの格好だし。
Never? He shook his head placidly. Maybe work ethic really hadn't been the right way to put it.
俺、あいつの顔見たことないんだよ。多分他の奴らも同じじゃねえかな。
He looks like the guy earlier that we saw that was blonde. I assumed that was him. He looks like the prince in Howl's Moving Castle, like the lanky one with the bobbed hair. Was there some reason he didn't want to be seen? Or was he simply attached to the costume? Now I'm even more curious about him.
で、お前はいつまで油売ってんだ？
Oh, I'm so sorry. Left the fountain and hurriedly resumed the cleaning Monsieur Hugo had asked me to do. Finished up my evening magic practice and popped into the tent to say goodbye.
ああ、頼んでいた仕事は終わったのかい？
I was just about to leave.
帰りを遅らせることはできるかな？
Dinner? He blinked in surprise.
前に少し話したと思うけれど、レイブにはスタッフ用の食堂があってね。いつも仕事を頑張っている君をぜひ招待したいんだ。
Well, I'm flattered. Thank you, but I've only been here 3 days. Surely he was exaggerating my contribution.
まあ、それはそうなんだけれど、スタッフから君の評価が高いのも事実だ。特にリオンは君のことを褒めていたよ。夕食に招待しようと提案したのも彼なんだ。
His human look is not my type, but he's so sweet. I like him. It was?
普段の仕事ぶりはもちろん、絵本を買ってきてくれたことが嬉しかったようだ。レイブに囚われている俺たちにとって、買い出しで得られる娯楽は本当に貴重だからね。
In that case, I'm glad I put so much thought into his book. It overjoyed me to hear not only Leon's appreciation, but Monsieur Hugo's as well. People still appreciate me, even as I am now.
結論は出たかな？
I accept your invitation.
それはよかった。じゃあ食堂へ案内しよう。ついておいで。
Cute chairs. Upon setting foot in the dining tent, it was greeted by the same pastel color scheme as the rest of the park. The staff awaited me there, like a crowd anticipating a show.
あ、来てくれたんだね。
Thank you for inviting me.
そんな、僕は提案しただけだから。あ、席はね。
私の隣が空いてるわ。
I had hoped that behind Leon was like a really buff macho dude, you know, my type, but I guess he's a pretty boy. Very, very sad. I took Clara's offer. Claire and Sergei sat in front of me, while Leon was to my right. Still in costume even for dinner. How does he eat in that? Perhaps they had costume-accessible options available. I could only guess, though, because the table was decidedly empty.
さあ、食事にしよう。
Monsieur Hugo took his seat. In fact, everyone had taken their seats. There was no one to cook. No people, anyway. Monsieur Hugo pulled a small bell from his coat and rang it. Imagine losing the bell and you can't eat anymore. Cupboards suddenly flew open and dishes topped with cloths. Cloths? I'm assuming that's a mistype. Cloths flew through the air, settling on the table all on their own. Sergei removed the top of one, revealing a full plate of terrine. How is this? My jaw dropped to the floor. More dishes landed, including a salad and several plates for everyone.
まだこれからだよ。
As if on cue, a lid lifted itself from one of the pots on the stove, and a ladle began scooping soup into bowls. Everything moved with an almost musical rhythm. Speechless shock transformed into joy. Next came baguettes, flying from the oven. Knives followed suit, slicing the bread and plates joined to serve them. Dash of salt and olive oil felt like a bit of a theatrical flourish at this point. And finally, the steak. At last, dinner was served. I remember a scene like this in River du Manège. I can't believe I really just saw it happen before my eyes.
レイブの食堂はどうかな?
That was amazing! It happened like magic.
まさにその通り。レイブの食事はすべて魔法で生み出しているんだ。
Is that true?
少し考えりゃわかるだろう。皿が空飛ぶと思うか？
ああ、知らなかったのか。では、屋台の食べ物のことも。
That's magic too? Sergei blinked at my sudden outburst before nodding slowly. It hit me that I hadn't seen anyone making deliveries for ingredients here. I hadn't stopped to buy any when I had gone shopping with Clea either. I had no idea. If it hadn't been obvious before, it was now that this really was an magic amusement park.
話は終わったか？じゃあ食べ始めようぜ。せっかくの料理が冷めちまう。
Oh, I'm sorry.
彼女は初めてなんだから少しくらいいいじゃない。
よくねえから言ってるんだよ。
Me.
温かいうちに食べてほしいってことだよね。
そういう意味じゃねえ。
じゃあ、クリエの気遣いを無駄にしないようにいただくとしよう。
Forks and knives began clinking. I put some salad and terrine on my plate and tried a bite. It's good! Everything was lovely, from the texture and taste of the terrine to the freshness of the vegetables. I could hardly believe it hadn't been prepared in a kitchen. Magic is incredible.
不思議だよね。俺にも原理はわからないんだ。
You can't? But you did all this, didn't you? He had rung the bell, at least.
いや、俺はベルで料理を注文しているだけで、シェフたちの仕事ぶりは知らなくてね。遊園地を出し入れするのと同じ。指示は出せるけれど、それだけなんだ。
Fascinating. Monsieur Hugo wasn't a witch after all.
料理の味はどう？
With the food brought back to my attention, I resumed eating. Delicious.
そう、よかった。あ、こっちのステーキも美味しいんだよ。
Leon picked up a knife with his mittened hands and cut me a piece.
はい、どうぞ。
Thanks. I tried it at once. The meat was tender and the sauce complemented it excellently. You were right.
よかった。お口に合ったみたいで。まだまだあるからたくさん食べてね。
I will. You eat up too.
うん。
He poked a piece of steak with his fork and carried it to his mouth. Oh, that's right. How does Leon eat in that costume? I was so focused on magic I nearly forgot. I eyed him closely. The steak drew closer and closer. He's so cute. Ah! Couldn't believe my eyes. The steak, fork and all, passed straight through the costume and presumably into his mouth. He pulled the fork away. The steak's gone! The head of his costume bobbed up and down like he was chewing. I could swear I could hear it too. There's no hole as far as I can see. How's he doing that?
お肉が柔らかくて口の中で溶けちゃうね。
Leon went straight for another bite. The head bobbed again. I couldn't look away.
そんなに見つめられると恥ずかしいかも。
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stare.
ついて。
He tilted his head in genuine curiosity. Costume. The food moves right through it. I was wondering how you do it.
おう、そういうことか。
He nodded.
僕にもよくわからないんだよね。
You don't know how you eat?
うん。特別なことは何もしていないから、僕もずっと不思議なんだ。
From the food to Leon himself, the rev was just brimming with mysteries.
ねえ、僕の食べ方って変かな？
No, you're cute. Yes, there's a cute option. Yes. He's baby. Favorite by far. It's cute. I think it's cute. You're like a character out of a picture book.
絵本のキャラクター。それっていいことなのかな？
In my opinion, at least, it makes you fun.
そっか。楽しいんだ。ご飯を食べるだけでそう思ってもらえるなんて、なんだか嬉しいかも。
He's such a good boy. Beneath his mask, Leon giggled. What a good boy. After dessert, dinner came to a close. Should I help clean up? Monsieur Hugo simply winked and rang his bell. The dishes glowed, and just like that, they were spotless. They then picked themselves up and returned to the shelves they had come from. They reminded me of little birds going back to their nest. I caught myself giggling again. I hadn't expected dinner at the Rev to be such a spectacle. Aw, thanks, you're so sweet.
今日は来てくれてありがとう。お話ができてとっても嬉しかったよ。
I like talking with you too. Thank you for having me. He's so cute.
また一緒に食事しましょう。レイブのご飯は無料だから遠慮はいらないわ。
I'd like that. It was deep into the night by the time I left. I made my way to the gate with quickened steps. See? He looks like the prince in Howl's Moving Castle, for sure. Even the same bob. When I reached to the teacups, I spotted a figure. It's him again. It was the boy I had seen on my first day. I knew it. That's the Rev's uniform. I should talk to him. Before I could take my first steps, though, he walked off. I missed my chance. Who on earth is that? Only ever saw him late at night, never during the day. He couldn't have been a guest, and his uniform surely meant he was with the park. Clara and the others don't know him, so maybe he's new like me? The mystery only deepened the more I thought about it. Maybe I'll learn his name someday. I resumed my walk home. Okay, so there is chapter 3, so we get 4 chapters. That's nice. 6 days had passed since I had begun working at the Rev. Today was my day off, which I spent relaxing at home. Currently, I was preparing dinner. Magic food is fascinating, but it can't replace the fun of cooking it yourself. A click and a creak came from the front entryway. Arnold, welcome back. I called out towards the door as it swung open.
Ah, ただいま。ほら、お土産買ってきたぞ。
Oh? You handed me a familiar-looking box. Macaron! Macarons were my absolute favorite. I don't know how to pronounce it right, my bad. The logo on the box told me that these were from the shop that I like too. What's the occasion? Were you nearby for work?
お前仕事頑張ってるみたいだから
How
さ。
sweet.
帰りに寄ってきたんだ。
But it's so out of the way. Would have had to go a complete opposite direction from home. Thank you. That's so thoughtful.
どういたしまして。喜んでくれてよかったよ。
Huh? He ruffled my hair. I had been coming home from work fairly late recently, so moments like these had become a rarity. I'll save these for dessert after dinner. The snack plate should be on the top shelf. I stood on my tiptoes and reached up.
これか
Arnaud appeared behind me and brought the dishes down with ease. Thanks.
無理する前に頼めよ。こんな頼りがいのある兄貴が隣にいるんだからさ。
Big bro.
なんだよ。これでも2歳も年上なんだぞ。それとも俺じゃ頼りないか
No, that's not it. I just thought it was funny. The way he took care of me was certainly somewhat brotherly. Still, though, I don't know how to explain it, but siblings don't feel quite right for us. Yeah, you're a capture target. There's no way you're just siblings.
そっか。
He grinned for some reason.
マカロンは俺が用意するから夕食の支度に戻っていいぞ。途中だったんだろ
Thanks. He took the box for me and I resumed cooking. Granted, all that was left was to add the garnishes.
それで
Arnaud began placing the macarons on a plate.
遊園地の仕事はどうだいじめられたりしてないか
No, everyone's very kind. I'm getting used to things. Being in front of guests used to make me nervous, but I'm managing now. I was making progress with awakening my magic too, albeit not very visibly. Plus, that was still a secret.
よかった。楽しめてるなら心配いらないな。
It's hard work though. Not that I expected it to be easy, but still. Do you like reporting?
楽しいし、毎日充実してるよ。取材であちこち移動するから大変だけど、じっとしてるのは苦手だし、俺の性に合ってる。
Monsieur Daniel might be surprised to hear you say that. Arnaud's father was a high-ranking officer in the military, currently stationed in Paris. Arnaud never seemed keen on continuing the family tradition, though.
まあ、そうだな。親父とは違うと思う。でも記事にだって力があるんだぞ。武力だけが力じゃない。記者みたいに真実を明らかにする仕事は、 世の中にとって重要だと俺は思ってる。ペンは剣よりも強しって言うしな。
Getting the truth in the hands of the people. Not saying it doesn't sound like you is so mean. I would never say that. It sounds admirable. Reporting sounds like an admirable line of work.
かっこいいって言われるとなんか照れるな。
You should. I mean it.
俺の言葉に説得力があったってことか。記者には最高の褒め言葉だよ。
You ruffled my hair a little more tenderly than I was used to.
あ、そうだ。お前に話したいことがあったんだ。
Are not finished plating the macarons.
うちの新聞でレーブ移動遊園地を取り上げたいって話になったんだ。こんな田舎じゃ一大イベントだからな。で、明日取材に行くんだけど、園長を紹介してもらえないか。
Really? I suppose I might be able to get you in before we open.
本当か？じゃあ頼めるか？
Not at all. I'll ask. An article would mean more visitors for the Rev. That was an exciting prospect, but part of me was worried. I've got to be careful. There'll be trouble if he finds out about the magic situation. Made a silent promise to myself to take extra care. Arnaud and I left early the next day and arrived at the Rev before opening hours.
へえ、これがレーブ移動遊園地か。立派な設備だな。
Arnaud eyed the park's features closely. Suddenly, though, he fell silent, and his admiration turned to curiosity. What's wrong?
いや、なんでもない。
If you say so. I'll go talk to the director. Wait just a minute.
ああ、頼む。
I explained the situation to Monsieur Hugo, who readily agreed to the idea so long as we kept the magical aspects of the story under wraps. Arnaud removed his cap and bowed upon entering the tent.
DNB デルニエール・ヌーベル・ブランブール新聞社の記者。
Blanc. Okay, so it's Blanc.
はじめまして。レーブ移動遊園地の園長、ヒューゴです。
Arnaud's head shot up. He stared hard at the director.
ヒューゴさ。
The color seemed to drain from his face. What's gotten into him? Is something wrong?
何か？
いえ。失礼しました。ずいぶんお若い方だと驚いてしまって。
さすが記者さん。褒めるのが上手だね。
Arnaud smiled back before fixing his posture.
改めまして、取材の許可をいただき、ありがとうございます。
こちらこそ、記事にしてもらえるなんて光栄だよ。具体的にはどういったこと？
園内を写真に収めたり、スタッフの皆さんにインタビューをお願いできればと。可能なら、早速今日から始めたいのですが。
もちろん構わないよ。ただ、スタッフへのインタビューは営業時間外にお願いできるかな。
わかりました。ご協力に感謝します。
Not bowed his head. Sorry.
アルノー君の案内を頼めるかな。
Me? You're sure?
君が連れてきてくれたお客さんだし、気心知れた仲ならやりやすいだろうと思ってね。この1週間で見つけたレーブの魅力を彼に伝えてもらえると嬉しいな。
I think we can do that. If you'll allow me.
お世話になります。
With that almost professional sounding exchange, we exited the tent.
取材なんて許可してよかったのか。魔法のことを知られたら町にいられなくなる。
心配いらないよ。 来園者にも隠し通せているわけだし、それに断る方が不自然だろ。
あなたがそう言うのなら従おう。
Interesting, interesting.
お前は普段どんな仕事をしてるんだ？
Arnott pulled out a small notebook. Nothing specific at the moment. I mainly greet guests or help the rest of the staff with whatever they need. As the words leave my lips, a realization struck me. Wait, is this an interview?
当然。お前もスタッフの一人だからな。
I suddenly felt much more nervous with this new revelation.
お前もスタッフの制服を着るのか？
Yeah, I have one.
じゃあ、写真を撮るから着替えてくれ。
Right now?
決まってるだろう。スタッフへのインタビューは営業時間外だけだからな。ほら、早く早く。ここで写真撮って待ってるからさ。
It's not going in the article, is it?
記事にしない取材はしない。それが俺のモットーだ。ま、最終判断は編集長の仕事だけどな。
I couldn't say no, especially not after I had gotten the director's express permission for this. I'm starting to have regrets. I'm done.
へえ、似合ってるじゃん。お前本当にスタッフの一員なんだな。
Sorry about the thunder in the background. As much as I can after only a week.
この前まで家に引きこもってたお前がこんなに立派になって誇らしい気分だよ。
Rude. That doesn't sound like a compliment.
ああ、褒め言葉のつもり。それと、可愛いな。
My heart skipped a beat. Why am I so jumpy? He's only saying that because he's never seen me in a uniform before.
じゃあ写真撮るぞ。何でもいいからポーズ撮ってくれるか。
Okay. Entertaining wasn't part of my job description, so I struggled to come up with anything for a while. Eventually, I settled on simply holding my right hand out invitingly.
いいね、様になってる。魅力的なスタッフだな。
I heard the shutter click several times. Do you want me to show you around?
ああ、頼む。レイブのこといろいろ教えてくれ。なるほど。勉強になるよ。
Arnott took notes while he listened to my explanations of the attractions and various amenities. His dark expression was the picture of professionalism. Does he always look so serious while he works? I'm not used to seeing him like this. It's kind of handsome.
オートマタの説明ありがとう。もう次に移って大丈夫だ。
Okay, that just leaves?
移動遊園地に観覧車なんて珍しいな。オートマタといい、本当に見どころが多い。
He snapped several photos.
この観覧車にはどんなお客さんが乗るんだ？
Families and couples for the most part. We don't get many single riders.
俺も乗ってみていいか？
Sure thing. I'll just wait.
いや、お前も一緒に来てくれ。俺の恋人として。
Okay, this is totally him just raising me up. Date? My voice cracked in surprise.
一人で乗る客がほとんどいないのに、俺一人で乗ってもいい記事は書けないだろ。だから恋人役が必要なんだ。
That's a weak excuse. Oh, that's what you meant. My face burned with embarrassment.
何赤くなってんだよ。
I could ask you the same thing.
お前の動揺っぷりに驚いたんだ。
He ruffled my hair. This time he was a little rougher than usual. At least I'm not the only one embarrassed.
でもまあ、照れるってことは、俺の魅力に気づいたってことか。
Well, I had just been admiring the way he worked, so I wouldn't deny it.
そういう塩らしいお前も可愛いな。
He called me cute again. Arnott was acting strangely forward today. It was starting to get to me. getting flustered over Arnaud. I must be losing my mind. Oblivious of my inner turmoil, he took my hand.
ほら、乗るぞ。足元に注意しろよ。
Guided me onto the gondola. I hate gondolas. So this is how they look on the inside. I hadn't had the time to ride any of the attractions since becoming an employee. I had missed out on trying the Ferris wheel during my initial visit too. This was my first time. It's awfully small. Our legs are touching.
おい、外を見てみろよ。
I would cry. I lifted my gaze to the window. As the gondola rose, the scenery began to expand. Wow! The people and buildings shrank before my eyes. I was instantly glued to the glass.
観覧車には初めて乗ったのか？
Yeah, I've been so busy lately. Oh, sorry. I'm not being a very good guide right now.
いや、気にするなよ。その代わり別の情報が得られるからさ。
What do you... Arnaud stood up and sat next to me before I could finish. The weight distribution is off. The gondola swayed with the shifting weight. Okay, raising girly up. He wrapped his arms tightly around my shoulder. It stayed there, even after the swaying stopped. Arnaud?
こうしてるとデートしてるみたいだな。
I don't.
お前が観覧車を経験してなかったおかげで初めて乗った恋人たちの気持ちがわかるよ。この距離で相手を感じられるなんてたまらないな。それに誰も見てない。
Bro, what? Why are you so forward? Does it?
ああ、そうだよ。俺にはよくわかる。
I averted my gaze. I couldn't look him in the eye. You're being weird today.
じゃあもっと変なことを言おうか。俺はお前のことが好きだ。
From out of nowhere? Bro is crazy, actually. What? I don't know. Say nothing? I don't know. My breath caught in my throat. He loves me? As a friend or as something more?
悩んでくれてるのか。嬉しいな。
My heart nearly leaped from my chest.
まあ、恋人同士だったらって話だけどな。
Wait. Bite him, girl. Arnaud chuckled as he drew away. Were you teasing me this whole time?
さあな。
Bite him. What does maybe mean? It didn't seem like he had been messing around. At least, not entirely. I couldn't get a read on him. How am I supposed to come down from that? Being strung along by the man I trusted more than anyone had left my emotions in a state of chaos. I fanned my burning cheeks. Bite him. Teach him a lesson.
質問していいか。
As soon as we left the gondola, Arnaud broke the silence.
お前はちゃんと帰ってくるよな。ブランブールのあの家に。
Where is this coming from?
なんか怖くなってさ。
Of what? A shadow of unease loomed over Arnaud's expression. What in the world brought this on? I nodded reassuringly. Of course I'm coming home. Where else would I go?
そうだよな。悪い。変なこと言って。
Unless I start dating one of the men here, I don't know. You wore a lonely smile. As we made our way back to the administrative tent to end our tour, we heard a fuss over by the Manège. A crowd had gathered.
あれ、どうしたんだ？
I'm not sure. Let's go and see. The rest of the staff stood in front of the Manège. The air was heavy. I could tell at once that something was wrong. What's happening?
緊急事態なのよ。マネージュが故障したって。
Broken down?
今日開演できるのか？あと時間はどれくらいあるんだ？
約1時間だ。
1時間？
That can't be enough time to fix it. There was no way. The reality of the situation began to sink in.
これは取材してる場合じゃなさそうだな。
せっかく来てもらったのにすまない。取材の続きは後日にしてもらえると助かるよ。
わかりました。俺はこれで失礼します。
Arnaud took off his cap for a light bow, then turned to me.
それじゃあ頑張れよ。また家でな。
See you. He patted my head, then left the park.
それで具体的な状況は？
Monsieur Hugo gave up examining the switch panel and shook his head.
俺だけじゃ解決できそうにない。彼を呼んでこないと。
Who?
レーブの整備士さんだよ。
Leon answered for me. Right, this is an amusement park. Of course they'd have someone to fix things.
君はまだ会ったことがないかもね。ルシオールさんはめったに顔を出さないから。
Sounds like he'd get along well with me.
そうか、面識がなかったね。君に彼を呼びに行ってもらおうかと思ったんだけれど。
I can do it. Where can I find him?
この時間なら自分の部屋にいるはずだ。一番奥にあるテントだよ。
I'm on it.
セルジュとクリアは買い出しの準備を頼む。修理に必要な部品が出るかもしれない。リオンは明かりを用意してもらえるかな。修理のために中を照らす必要があるからね。クララは万が一営業できない時に備えて開演中止を知らせる看板を用意してほしい。
After listening to Monsieur Hugo's instructions, I ran off to find Lucille. Lucille? Lucille. Furthest back, furthest back. This must be it. Excuse me, Lucille, are you there? I timidly called out to him, but there was no reply. Lucille? Again, no reply. Is he out, maybe? I decided to peek inside as politely as possible. Excuse me. I poked my head into the tent. A boy was crouched in the corner. His hood obscured his face, but his pastel green uniform was unmistakably Dervaux's. Are you Lucio? He lifted his head ever so slightly. The look on his face was anything but cheerful.
誰ですか？
My name's Vere. I started working here last week.
ああ、
I looked away, disinterested.
確かに僕がルシオールですが、何の用ですか？
The Manège is broken. The director needs you right away.
故障？まさか昨日の夜点検したばかりですよ。
Could you come with me, please?
園長の指示なら。
Lucio reluctantly picked himself up and collected a box of tools. He left with a sigh. I hurried after him. Monsieur Hugo, Serge, and Leon were waiting at the Manège.
ルシオール、よく来てくれたね。
僕を呼ぶのに知らない人をよこさないでください。
Me.
大変不愉快でした。
Me. I gasped at the grimace that spread across his face.
それはルシオールさんが出てこなかったから自己紹介できなかっただけで、彼女は僕たちの仲間だよ。
He's so
知
sweet.
らない人じゃない。
Hey, Wolf Leon.
僕には関係ありません。二度とこういうことはしないでください。
今日はよく喋ってくれるね。そろそろ修理を手伝ってもらえるかい？
わかりました。
Lucio nodded, then peered into the Manège.
ワイヤーは異常なし。
滑車も確認したけれど問題はなさそうだったよ。
じゃあ動力源ですね。内部を見るので照らしてもらえますか？
リオンと君にお願いできるかな。
Right. Leon handed me a lantern, and we moved to the middle of the Manège. Lucio bent down, opened up a small latch to the floor, and peered inside. Leon and I held our lanterns over the machinery while Lucio began his investigation. He tapped things, tightened bolts, loosened others. He clearly knew what he was doing. He's like a totally different person from when I found him. His focus is incredible. Both the grimace and the glower had vanished from his face. He muttered something under his breath.
原因がわかりました。
Already? I couldn't believe it. It hadn't even been 3 minutes. The glower at once returned to his expression. I don't know if he would like it if I would apologize or just say you're amazing. I'll do amazing first. You're amazing, Lucio. How did you manage to find it so fast? Hello?
白々しい。
Oh, he hates it. I swallowed the rest of my comments. No. We're gonna have everyone like me. I'm sorry. I was just surprised, that's all. I didn't mean to imply anything.
悪意がないなら構いません。軽率だとは思いましたが。
No, I'm sorry. He was right that it had been a careless outburst. I should be more careful in the future.
それで故障の原因は何だったんだ？
蒸気機関のピストン。古くて動きが鈍くなっているので、円盤がうまく回らなくなっているみたいですね。
なるほど。
Sergei frowned.
以前から老朽化していることは分かっていたが、予算の都合で完全な修理をしてこなかったからな。今回ばかりは予算を捻出しなければならないか。まあ、
それは無理ですね。
何？
今すぐ新しいピストンを買ってきたとしても、交換には時間がかかります。僕でも半日近く必要ですよ。
Sergei was speechless.
マネージュだけお休みにして開園するのはダメなの？
ダメではないよ。ただマネージはレイブの目玉だからね。
売り上げに支障が出る。
Rain clouds seemed to gather over Sergei.
何か方法はないのか？
僕から提案はありません。整備士としていい加減な仕事はできませんから。
What are we going to do? A gloomy, contemplative silence fell over everyone present.
そうか。
Monsieur Hugo's eyes started to me.
魔法を使えばいい。
What?
魔法でピストンの動きを補助すれば1日くらいは持たせることができるはずだ。
それは。
Do you think I can do it? I am practicing every day, but I've never actually tested it on anything before. I'd love to use it to help you all. I'm just not sure. I wasn't even remotely confident in my abilities. In fact, my understanding of being a witch was so poor that I couldn't rightly say whether I had been even awakened anything at all this past week.
大丈夫。
僕は反対です。
Lucio suddenly spoke up louder than I had ever heard him before.
魔法は危険です。使うべきではありません。
大掛かりな魔法ではないし、うまくいくとも限らない。だから危険は
絶対にやめるべきです。
そう言われてもね。
とにかく僕は反対ですから。
Lucio pressed his lips together into a thin line. The director went quiet for a moment before turning to him again.
すべての決定権は園長である俺にある。悪いけれど魔法を使わせてもらうよ。
勝手にしてください。
Luciel moved a ways away and plopped down on the ground. He pulled his hood down tighter, hoisting himself away into his own little shell.
少々大人げないところを見せてしまったね。ルシオールはいろいろと抱え込んでいて気難しいところがあるんだ。俺も無理に意見を通したくはないんだけれどね。
He smiled weakly.
さて、改めてお願いしたい。君の魔法でマネージを動かしてほしい。もちろんうまくいかなくても構わない。ただ挑戦してもらいたいんだ。
You've only been here a week. I really might as well be a stranger. But I want to be useful. I want my magic to be worth something. That's why I came here. I nodded, resolved. I'll do it.
頑張ってね。
Thanks. I returned the lantern to Leon and looked hard at the Manège. Took a deep breath.
そう。体を楽にして。そして自分の中にある魔法に意識を向けるんだ。
I'm trying. Closed my eyes and a pale light appeared before me. There was magic in me. All I had to do was focus and gather.
マネージは蒸気機関のピストンが弱っている。そこに魔法で力を加えて円盤をうまく回すんだ。さあ、よくイメージして。大丈夫。君ならできるよ。
Focus my magic into the piston. The light coalesced into a point. We spent a long moment slowly and carefully feeding it into the machinery. It was done. The light enveloped the Manège. It was warm to the touch. If everything went right, that should do it. I'm done. I only hope it works.
成果を確かめてみよ
The director rose the sulking mechanic. How cute.
う。ルシオール、君の出番だ。
He rose in silence and trudged over just as quietly.
どいてください。
Sorry. I stepped down from the Manège. Luciel walked around the platform, feeling various places and scanning here and there. What is he doing?
あれが整備士の仕事だよ。魔法がきちんとかかっているかどうか、ああやって確認しているんだ。
What? Luciel can see magic.
そうでないと、魔法の遊園地の整備士は務まらないからね。
He maintains them not just physically, but magically too. That's amazing. Luciel stepped off the Manège.
結果はどうだい？
He then flipped one of the switches. The Manège began to spin.
見ての通りです。
うわ、すごい。大成功だね。
開演に間に合ったか。
Thank goodness! A weight lifted from my shoulders. I really did something with my magic. It helped people.
ありがとう。君は最高の魔女だ。
I don't know about that. I had a lot of help.
ほら見て、マネージュが動いてるわ。
修理できたのか。この短時間で。
Clara and Clear came running upon hearing the commotion.
彼女が魔法で直してくれたんだよ。
は？お前何かの間違いだろ。
Oh, so boo-hoo, so mean.
ちょっとクリエ、他に言うことないの？私たちのために魔法を使ってくれたのよ。
まあ助かったけどよ。
Clear looked away shyly. That was all I needed. I'm glad I could help.
つうか、そんなの当たり前だろ。お前は魔法を使うために雇われたんだからな。
I know. I suddenly realized Luciel had vanished. Glancing around, I spotted him heading back towards the tents. Lucio?
何か
He turned around slowly and reluctantly. I just wanted to thank you for checking the Manège. I've never used magic before, so I'm glad you looked at it over first.
僕は指示に従っただけ
Oops. He promptly trudged away. My voice trailed off as each long dragging step carried him further. Why were you so against what I did? Lucio didn't stop, but apparently he had heard me.
あなたには関係ありません
That makes sense. With that, he was gone. Lucio. I returned to the Manège. There, the staff hurriedly prepared to open the park. I've never felt like my magic was useful for anything, but this feels like progress. I feel like I can finally call myself part of the Rev. I had made enormous leaps towards my ultimate goal, and yet there was still so much more to learn. There was still so much to do before everyone could be free. I will awaken my magic, and when I do, I'll be a witch who's worth something. I guess that's it for the demo. Yay! Okay. When I read the Steam, the full game comes out on January 31st, I think. So yeah. Oh, they're not even gonna show me the album. That sucks. I guess I'll unlock it in the full one. I am interested in the story, so I might just buy the full game when it comes out. But yeah, that was it for the demo for Genso Manège. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. See you next time.